Hello everyone, greetings from Chateau Bouffamont. I'm Sarp, your manager here at the Chateau and your host on the Chateau Bouffamont vlog series. Well, today for this special episode we have a special guest and we are now live on Instagram. So we have Billy Folchetti joining us, the founder of Luxe X Billy Folchetti. Some of you know him. A few months back we did a video together about wedding decorations and floral design, and on the session today we will share suggestions about wedding planning in general and how to make plans during quarantine. Hello Billy.
Hello Sarp, how are you?
I'm good, I hope you too.
Yeah, lots of hand washing, but things are good. We're safe and happy, so that's the most important part.
Great to have you here today with us. How are you holding up?
We're doing good, you know, just trying to stay creative and stay positive and stay inspired, you know, during this time where we don't really have a lot else to do. You know, things are obviously, you know, pretty slow, lots of rescheduling and lots of, you know, time to sort of process what's going on. It's at least the beginning of the 2020 wedding season is going to be pretty slow. So
I hope so too. So let's talk about you a bit today, since your personality is actually your brand and it's becoming more and more stronger. So we are following your news and updates with great passion. So tell us a bit of yourselves, who you are, and the path that brought you here today and made you an internationally renowned wedding planner, but also a styling and event designer too, please.
Yeah, so wow, that's quite the introduction. How do I follow that? So the brand started actually ago today. Was our first ever wedding in Europe, and it started as, you know, being planning and floral design. And as I, you know, matured and as we continued through the years, about this time last year, I thought to myself, you know, now's the time to do something a little bit different. I love weddings and it will always be my first love, and it's something that we still continue to do and a service that we continue to offer, obviously. But I wanted to sort of try and figure out a way to show more of the things that I love, you know, and to try and show that to the world. You know, I've worked hard to get where I am, and it was a long journey to, you know, take myself from the States and transplant myself in Europe, and you know, it was a tough, you know, journey to get where I am, and I just feel so lucky to be where I am. So I thought to myself, how can I expand outside of, you know, weddings and show more of what I feel so passionate about, which is Europe, which is, you know, a lifestyle, which is, you know, travel and destinations and beautiful places and beautiful things in general. You know, I'm a lover of beauty and a lover of, you know, things that are of quality, and I feel like, you know, I sort of have a bit of a discerning eye for things like this. So I really wanted to show people what, you know, what I think is beautiful, and within my life and what I do, the special experiences and special things that, you know, you don't get to see every day. So that was sort of my thought process behind it, and that's where the rename and the rebranding started to take place, and sort of putting myself out there more and as a personality, as opposed to being, you know, behind the scenes as a planner or behind the flowers. You know, I really wanted to sort of shine a little bit more so that other people can be inspired by that.
Okay, that's great. So this actually follows to my following question as well, since I've known you, and actually today is the birthday of Luxe Billy Folchetti. So once again, congratulations and happy birthday. It's 9 years, you said?
No, it's 6 years.
6 years. Okay, wow, even better. So you've been in Paris since I known you. So now you're living in Italy, and so what brought you there?
I think, you know, part of it was personal, part of it was professional. I planned over, gosh, at this point, it's well over 100 events in in Paris and within Europe, some of those in different locations, but it's well over 100 in the past 6 years. And what I thought to myself, again, sort of with this rebranding, and with my love of Italy, and obviously Paolo, my husband, is Italian,
Sure.
So I speak Italian much better than I speak French. And just an overall general personal want and need to sort of be out of the city and be somewhere that's a bit more tranquil for personal life when we're not working. So my thought process and our thought process really started to be, where can we be and do this without having to be inside of a stressful city? And obviously, Paris has faced its challenges over the past couple of years with the yellow jackets and the transportation strikes. So my feeling about all of it was, how can I sort of get ahead of this and, go towards sort of creating trends as opposed to following them. Paris, luckily for all of us who are based there, it's a very popular destination and we have a great business there, but I didn't want to rely just on that. I wanted to expand into something different, into new markets. So about 2 years ago, we decided to start rebranding, as opposed to being Paris planners to being destination planners. And that's gone really well so far. We've done events in Marrakesh, outside London, in the UK. We've been obviously here on Lake Como. We were in Sardinia last summer, Sorrento, Morocco, I have already said. And we're pushing those limits even more and more, hopefully going to your homeland, to Turkey and Istanbul and Cappadocia. We love those as well. And really kind of just, through this process, what I really want to do through my own personal experience is to show people things that they may be scared of or maybe hesitant about. People have a huge misconception about Morocco specifically, also Turkey, for our American clients. It seems like a place that might be dangerous or a place that we can't go, and that's so true. And these cultures and these people and those two places specifically are just so beautiful, arms open, welcoming, cater to your every need. And I really want to show that experience to people and get people thinking outside of the box. Paris and Paris, France, Italy, Lake Como, all of those places are amazing and they're beautiful experiences.
That's true.
To go outside of the box a little bit.
Okay, so recently you've shared a new video of your rebranding. Since we're talking about it, I just wanted to show it also to our audience. If you don't mind, I'm gonna put it up online so we can watch it together. So right now, I'm sure right now, like us, you must be dealing with a lot during this quarantine period with regards to the weddings already booked and for the season, and maybe some of it already had to be cancelled or postponed. Just wanted to just jump right into it. How do you position yourself and your services with regards to the weddings already booked for this coming season?
Well, so the one thing I think that's really unique about this whole virus and the pandemic that we're facing is that we are facing it as a global community. It's not just focused in France or in China or in the US, it's everywhere. So
Okay.
the overall sort of sentiment and feeling that's very sort of it's emotional, but very much a beautiful sort of giving nature. You know, everyone's experiencing it at the same time and everyone's going through it. So my whole thing to my clients is that, you know, we know this is going to end. We know that there's going to be a place where we're no longer facing this, and that's where, you know, the sun sort of comes out again. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. So my position with my current clients who have had to postpone is, let's hold off a little bit and see what happens, and then we can choose a new date once we know what this really looks like. There's no pressure to put a date on it right now because it's unrealistic, and it kind of goes with our process as destination event planners. Is most of the time, unlike getting married, you know, where you're from, you know, as an American wedding, for example, you know, the date is the first thing that we think about. It's the first thing that we establish on the planning timeline. For me and for us as destination planners, we actually work backwards, where we choose the things that we really want first, and then we, you know, in terms of vendors or venues, et cetera, we choose those things first, and then we choose the date that works for all of the pieces, all of the puzzle pieces to come together. So as we're moving forward with my existing clients and also encouraging new clients is that same process. We don't have to have a date right now. What we can do in this period where we're all sort of stuck at home and we're, you know, desiring inspiration and wanting to see new things and understand and you know, educate ourselves on new things, we can go through that process together. You book today and we have all of this spare time to look at beautiful venues and talented vendors and figure out what the wedding looks like as a whole. And then when this pandemic is over, then we put a date on it and we're ready to go.
Yes, of course. And what about the weddings already booked with the venue and all things are almost ready to start? Let's say a wedding for May or June, and if we are sure that we are not going to be able to do these weddings and we have to choose another date, as you said, we're going to wait and to see which date we will be able to do it. And how do you, what do you say to these clients, and what would you suggest to them directly if they are going through, let's say, painful process as well?
Yeah, it is. I think it's a disappointing process. It's a disappointing thing to know that what you've planned for maybe a year or two is not going to be able to happen on the, you know, on the date that we thought about. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. So what I try to encourage and my personal mindset on it is that having to postpone your wedding or special event or vacation or trip, you know, is the least of our worries right now. I think staying safe and supporting each other and staying positive and healthy and inspired is really what we should focus on, because there is an end to all of this. And once that comes, then all of these beautiful things are still something that we can look forward to and still something that we'll establish once we have a date. So it's a sort of a difficult pill to swallow, but at the same time, it could be much worse. And because we're all going through it together, there's a lot of feeling of compassion. You know, when I'm talking to clients or I'm talking to vendors who are suffering through this process as well, venues like you guys, you know, everyone really feels sort of the same and feels, you know, that we just have to sort of stick it out, and you know, it could be worse. You know, we're doing something that is new territory for all of us. It evokes these very strange emotions, you know, everyone, and not to say that it's all, you know, butterflies, you know, you know, I have my days where I don't want to get out of it, and I have days where I'm super inspired, and I think just finding, you know, a passion project during this time is really important. You know, one thing I've been saying is like in any recession or any time of, you know, warfare, for example, titans are born. So find the thing that's going to make you a titan. It doesn't necessarily make a difference. You know, it's not about financially being a titan, just being a strong, passionate leader in whatever it is that you are passionate about.
Correct.
So that's my spiel for, you know, this time where we're all kind of stuck in is and while saying that, I think it's important that we establish that that's not something that you have to do every day, and you certainly shouldn't feel stressed or pressured by it. This is something that at the same time is very emotional, and you should feel your feelings, and you have the right to have sad days and have happy days. And just know that, you know, doing your best is the best that you can do, and not to be sort of caged by the impressions or the thoughts or what other people are doing or saying, or just go at your own pace. And as long as you make even little baby steps, it's a beautiful thing. And we'll all get through it, and then we can all make the good part.
I also guess as service providers, we have to always try to be flexible as much as we can, and always listen to our clients, and try to find always solutions, and make sure that we remain in constant contact. And I'm sure, as you say, we're going through a difficult period, but we're all on the same ship, and I'm sure we'll go over these days.
It remains a ship, as you referred to it, like a ship of compassion. You know, I think that we're all going to be okay, and I think there's a beautiful possibility that we all come out of this in a better way, and better for ourselves and better for the global community. And I think as difficult as it is, you know, I just keep reminding myself that it could be so much worse. You know, one thing that really hit home for me and really summed it up is seeing this post that was going around Instagram. It's not that you're trapped at home, you're safe at home. And that's really what it is. You know, it could be a global war with, you know, bombs and guns and, you know, people hurting each other, but it's not. It's just this, you know, crazy sort of epidemic and this sickness that we need to overcome. It could, you know, it could be so much worse, especially, you know, if you reference history.
Yes. And so I guess we can say that love will always survive, and wedding celebrations will go on, and we will still get married, I guess. And for those who are planning a wedding, let's say already for next year, since love will survive and will get there, say autumn or even next year, what would you say? How could they take into consideration, and should they start planning already, and what type of plannings they could do, and what should we consider at this time for our future long-time weddings?
Yeah, well, so I think, you know, the thing that non-wedding professionals don't understand, and especially first-time couples who are planning it, you know, or anyone, first-timers planning a major event, whether it's a wedding or not, is how much actually goes into the, you know, how much actually goes into the process and planning that leads up to the date that's chosen. So while you may not have a secured date, there is so much that needs to be done in advance. You know, just the process of reviewing where you're going to host your event, where your venue is, can take weeks or months if you don't have a specific and sort of focused vision on what you're looking for. If it's kind of all over the place, you know, I have a lot of clients who come to me and they say, hey, I definitely want a destination wedding, I don't know where. So especially when you have that situation, you know, we have to look at multiple different countries, travel patterns, venues, you know, what we like, what we don't like. So there's a lot that goes into it in advance that before you even arrive at actually choosing your date. So in this time, again, you know, the prep mode for all of this is that we can be doing that and working through that process now. And then once we know when people can actually get on planes, that's when, you know, that's when we can work with the venues and the vendors to come to a mutually agreeable date. And that's something, because we're all experiencing this and we're all going through the same thing, everyone in this industry is open to that, because we all want to flourish and save events and save towards it. So, I'm more than happy to say to someone who doesn't have a wedding date, yeah, let's sign on with, predetermined agreement that we don't know when this is going to happen, but as long as everyone who's involved stays open to finding a date that's mutually agreeable, then and we're fine. And it gives us excitement, it gives us some passion, it gives us something to look forward to. My clients waking up to emails from me with these lists of beautiful venues across different different countries and different continents and different parts of the world. It's something to look forward to go to your inbox and look at these exciting things and be able to know that something really great is going to happen.
Yes. So I guess this can refer us to the general questions we usually hear from our audience, and we've been asking to some of our followers to send us some questions. I'll try to refer to some of them. So let's talk about venue search. Where do you begin when searching for a venue, and what makes a venue the right place? What would you say about this?
I think there's a magnitude of different things that goes into finding the right venue. The first thing that I think you need to do in order to narrow the search is figure out what your guest count is looking like, and can the venue actually hold the amount of guests that you're looking to invite. If you have you can fall in love with a venue that is beautiful, but if it only holds 20 or 50 people and your guest count is over 100, then there's no point in even wasting your time looking at it. So I think that's one of the sort of more serious components that you need to consider in advance. One thing I always say to clients is, I want to know what your budget looks like. I want to know what your looks like, because I don't want you to fall in love with something that you can't have.
Sure.
So, that's sort of, I think, the first step, and then really kind of doing a little bit of like soul searching, if you will, and figure out what you want to personally feel on the day, and does that space evoke those feelings for you. And that's where it kind of, I think, really starts. And then of course, there's color schemes and styles and things to think about that help. I with my clients, try and do a little bit of a reverse sort of psychology with them. I have them send me inspiration photos across all different boards. It can be travel, fashion, style, home decor, anything that involves sort of aesthetic. And what I can do from there is sort of pull pieces together of similar ideas and say, okay, this person is a rustic person, this person is a mid-century modern person, this person is, this is, Marie Antoinette reincarnated, and that's how, we work through the process. And then from there, in the database of all of the different beautiful venues that we've worked with, we go through and say, okay, we think these work for you. And then they come to us and give us likes and dislikes, and it's sort of just a natural process going through it to figure out what works best.
You mentioned different styles and different themes, and I guess not all of us are as creative as you are. And what would you say about deciding the style of the wedding, and what elements do you think would make the biggest impact on ambience when it comes to the wedding?
The way I think that this gets done, especially when someone doesn't feel like they're necessarily stylish or they don't know what the direction is again, show me. Hiring a professional that can get this stuff out of you is really important, because if you don't know style, or you're not comfortable or familiar with it, you need to hire and work with someone who is and does have those those characteristics. And then once you have that, a true professional will be able to work with you to understand what you actually like and dislike, and pull those things out of you. So, again, with my clients, I like to see their Instagrams, I like to see Pinterest boards, I like to see random things, their favorite pair of shoes, or their favorite piece of art in their house, because it allows you to see their natural personality without them even having to tell you. Because a lot of times when someone says, what's your favorite movie? How long do you have to think about that before you actually come up with it? So it's the same thing. What's your style? Some people aren't able to articulate what their style is, but if you can see it naturally through the things that they have or the things that they do, then you're able to point them in the right direction. So I think you don't have to worry about not having style, because you might feel that way, but in reality, you might actually have, you know, super style. Who knows?
Sure.
But I think it's not necessarily worrying so much, you know, oh gosh, what do I do? But finding the right person that can help you do it.
Okay, okay, I understand. And I guess with lots of styles and different teams and all the experiences you had over these past years, what was the most unique event you ever planned? What's the biggest, the best experience you had?
Actually, you know my answer to this.
Maybe.
So, it was a chateau wedding. It was a birthday.
It was a birthday party.
Yeah, and it was, you know, there were there were a lot of moving parts, and it was really sort of interesting. I liked that event because it really upped the ante in all categories. You know, every course was served in a different room of the chateau. Remember, every room we had a different sort of floral theme and a different color scheme, a different style. We transported the guests through this process and through the chateau with differing acts of entertainment. You know, we had ballerinas escorting people somewhere. We had live music groups. We had DJs. We had, you know, henna artists. I don't even.
It was a long list. It was a long list. Even with the light shows and the cake, all the small candies. It was a impactful event. That's for sure. I can say that. Yes.
Fun, I think, for me personally, because it was very much outside of the box and very inspiring, and something that I'm really trying more so. I've always tried to push this, but more so than ever, really what I'm trying to encourage people to do is to throw whatever they think a wedding or event should be, throw that out the window, because it's your event. It's about you. It's about who you are as a person. It's about what you like and what you don't like. It doesn't matter what other people think. And especially if you're the one cutting the checks, like, you should be doing what you want to do. And so my whole thing, which is why I love that event so much, is because the client didn't worry about what other people thought or what they really, you know, she wanted it to entertain her guests, but she wasn't listening to outside influences. She really just did what she wanted.
She knew what she wanted. Yeah.
What I love so much about that event, it doesn't matter, you know, how much she spent or how many different flowers we had, or, you know, how beautiful it was. It was really just that she did what she wanted to do and did what she thought it would be great for her guests to enjoy. And that's where really cool and personal events come from, is throwing out that need to do something and only do what you actually want to do.
Yeah, where you come from is very important, rather than worrying, am I going to be able to entertain them, or will my guests like these things? But if you know what you like, and if you think that's going to entertain your guests, you go for it. And if you believe in it, in those entertainments and activities, everything goes really well, and then it becomes a very fun event. I guess that's what happened. Yeah. Awesome. We also received some questions in the chat here, so I'm gonna try to pull some of them up. Someone asked, what is the difference between a venue coordinator and a wedding planner?
What is the difference between an event coordinator and a wedding planner?
Venue coordinator and a wedding planner. I guess venue coordinator, that would be me probably, in a way.
Yeah. I think, well, it's sort of two things. So you have coordinators who work with the venue, and then you have outside resources like what we offer. I think the one misconception, is something that I hear all the time, and it kind of like makes me cringe, and I just do this, is that people say, you know, they'll talk to me, and then they'll maybe haven't signed on yet, they've seen some venue, and they say to me, oh, well, the venue comes with a plan or with a coordinator. And what people need to understand is that it's two very different services, and the people who are working within the venue are specifically working on and focused on what that venue is providing. So they are not someone that you can turn to and say, who can do a great, hairstyle, who can be my makeup artist, who can be my entertainment. The people that work in the venues, like yourself, they're managing what the venue is offering and what's specifically inside that contract. So just because you have a venue manager or a venue coordinator doesn't mean you have a wedding planner. It doesn't mean that you have an open book of resources. While you might have a select list of preferred venues from that venue, you don't have someone who's going to put all of the puzzle pieces together. You still need that.
We have one another personal question in a way, comes from a personal point, I guess. She says, my mother-in-law has very strong ideas about the wedding and how it will be like, but she doesn't know how to deal with this, I guess. How could we help her?
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say here is that love conquers all. I think that a lot of times excitement gets the best of us. And so perhaps for this individual's mother-in-law, she's so excited to help and to be a part of it, which is a beautiful thing, but she also needs to be reminded that this isn't her day and that, you have to come at it from sort of a caring standpoint. That individual should go to her mother and say, as much as I appreciate and love that you want to be a part of this, and I will try to include you as much as possible. This is my day, and I need you to respect the fact that these are decisions that I would like to make with my significant other.
Okay. I guess honesty and once again, communication conquers everything.
Taking the mystery out of it and taking the gray out of the black and white in a compassionate and sensitive manner, you can continue, to work together and hear both sides of it, but without offending the other person, without going to her and saying, stop it,
go away.
You have to go at it in a compassionate way and make that person understand that this is your day. And at the end of the day, if that person has a true love for you as an individual, they will understand that and back away.
Of course. All right. Okay. So yes, this is the end of our questions we have. This was great. Is there any topics you would like to mention, or any closing note that you would like to talk about?
I think we've covered so much ground here, but my biggest thing is just to encourage people, whether you're planning a trip or a vacation or an event or a wedding, to don't let this time stop you and to keep going, because again, we are all going to come out of this, and having sort of a silver lining and having a light at the end of the tunnel that you can look forward to during this time where we're all closed up and sort of isolated. I think that that's a really important thing. I really encourage people to do so, and it can be on any level. I think big misconception that I face a lot of the time, having Luxe in my title, is that people automatically equate that with a dollar sign or a euro sign or it being really expensive. And my thing is that just because something is luxurious doesn't automatically mean that it's expensive. It just means that it's well made, it's well catered to, it's well thought out. And so whether you have, as they say, beer pockets or champagne pockets, you can do luxurious and beautifully well thought out things regardless of the budget, and we encourage that. And so regardless of what you're going through, especially in these times where we're all impacted financially, it doesn't have to be a huge major thing. Maybe it's not a 2-week-long French Riviera or a Maldives vacation, but maybe you take 3 or 4 really special days and you go to a romantic cabin in the woods. It can be any of those things, and that's part of why we're extending the brand the way that we are into travel and into logistics experiences, because some people don't have the ability to do the long European vacation or fly 5,000 or 10,000 miles, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a luxurious experience within your means.
Yes, such a great advice. So it's been a pleasure to have you on this channel today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Your first
yeah. And, for both of us. Yes.
To seeing you soon and doing some more beautiful events together.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope the best and hopefully a great season ahead. Stay safe, Billy. Hope to see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's about it. Our first ever live session is over today. We will be back once again next week, Thursday, same time at 6 p.m. Stay informed, stay entertained, stay home with Chateau Buffemont. We will see you soon next week, Thursday, 6 p.m. Thank you very much.